Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the channel EV, Solar and Kilowatt-its. This is going to be sort of a three-parter really, or many parts, but three main subjects. First of all, dealing with or having a look at the switching your energy, depending on sort of what tariff you're on at the moment, and whether you're looking to actually save a little bit of money as we did. So the various options that are out there, and how you can quite cleverly look at, if you're a little bit flexible about how you use your energy, how you can actually save a little bit of money. The second thing we're going to have a look at is solar. And I recently went on a bit of a journey in selecting quotes and gathering lots of information to sort of better prepare myself and understand really just what we needed in terms of solar generation, how we can best use our solar power, and how to maximise its efficiency. There's loads and loads of information is going to come through on that, and also an extension to that is an electric vehicle, how you go about choosing that, what's right for you, what we did, or what we're about to do I should say, having just signed on the dotted line only a few moments ago. So lots and lots and lots and lots to talk about, and this is going to be really great because you're kind of going along with me at the same time as actually it's kind of happening. So just to put you in the picture, I've recently just signed over to Octopus.energy Agile Tariff, more on that in just a moment, to optimize our sort of energy consumption on throughout the day. That linked in with solar panels, which is being commissioned next week. In fact, the scaffolding goes up tomorrow, and the solar company come next Wednesday for probably for the rest of the week, probably into the early part of the following week, for our setup. And I think at the end of next week, Friday, the car comes. So yeah, lots and lots to talk about. So but this video is going to focus more on, or in fact exclusively on tariffs, and how you go about switching, and whether it's what's sort of right for you, and what I did and what we looked at. So okay, so big picture, we went over to the Octopus energy tariff. So we were on British Gas, I think it was. Prior to that we were at Eon. Prior to that, I think, just trying to think who we were with before that. It might have even been British Gas before that. But so most years I would swap. So I'd go onto the comparison websites and have a look around, punch in your information, how much energy you were using, and what the cost was, and the comparison site will come up with it. I think there's been further advancements on that still now. So there are Look After My Bills or Look After My Energy website, which I think is to all intents and purposes very, very good. But they tend to, they tend to focus very much on generally sort of fixed prices. So basically, who's offering the cheapest fixed rates, what the cheapest sort of standing charges are, and then you know, you're encouraged sort of, or your matrix is decided on which options would be better suited for you. So you know, we were paying something like, I mean, astronomical. I can't believe we were paying what we were paying. It's only when you look into these things now that you realise there are better options. But I think we were paying something in the region of 18-19p for our electric, which is just embarrassing. But anyway, it is what it is. And that was 18-19p for our electricity. I'm going to focus more on electricity. I'm not so worried about gas. Gas is actually quite cheap, but we're predominantly electric in our house. And it was like 3.5p or something like that for gas, and standing charges between the two, 19-21p, something like that, standing charges. So in fact, I think British Gas was slightly more than that. I think it was 25p for gas and electric. So and Octopus is slightly cheaper than that. So you know, I pay £135 a month, and you know, I have credit in the summer, and then I use a lot of that credit in the winter, maybe going into debit, and then they adjust your payments accordingly. So that seems to be typically the way that it goes. Most of us like to sort of not worry about it, and so a fixed tariff works really, really well. So you can use it at 8 o'clock in the morning when everyone's getting ready. You can use it between 4 and 7 in the evening when everyone wants to come home for dinner, and you don't have to worry about it. You're just paying a fixed rate. So that's, you know, I suppose a large percentage of people looking at using their energy and not kind of worrying about that with all the other things that are going on. However, 1920p is a lot of money. So having a look round, I looked about and found Octopus Energy, and there are a number of reasons why I've gone for it. But I'll explain some of my reasoning behind it. First of all, their fixed energy price for electric was something like 14.5p. So that was saving me about 5 or 6 pence per kilowatt, and I'm using about sort of 17 kilowatts per day. Look, I know, not massive money, but when you work that out per day, sort of 31 days per month, 365 days a year, it does add up. It does, and there's just no point throwing money away. So you've got to make a switch so that you can get onto a better tariff. Their website actually is not that fantastic, I have to admit. I think all their research and development is in the tariff itself rather than their website. But in terms of email communication, asking questions, I got answers back within a few hours in some instances, which I think is pretty fantastic from a customer service point of view. But some of their website bits and pieces aren't as sort of intuitive as you might, particularly when you're looking at sort of different options within there. But anyway, super cheap, and when I looked at it, sort of immediate savings there, both on gas and electric, in fact, and the standing charges. So brilliant. So immediately saving money there, which was fantastic. So I signed up, and I think I got £25 for signing up to Octopus. That went onto my account once the energy moved over. I'm going to put a link in. Every time you sign up to Octopus Energy, they give you a code which, if your friends, family, or anybody that wants to sign up to Octopus Energy, if they use that link, they get £50, and so does the person that's given you the link. So one thing I have to be very clear about here, I'm not affiliated to Octopus Energy whatsoever. This is just my choice from my research. It's worked for me. If you look at it and it works for you, then use the link and we both get 50 quid out of it. Whether you do or not, it's entirely up to you. The purpose of this video isn't to sell Octopus Energy, although it could kind of sound that way at the moment. It's just worked for me. I'm just kind of going through what I did, and if that's really good for you, fantastic. If not, doesn't matter. Okay, there's lots of other things in this video that can be find quite useful. So looking at it further, they offer something called Agile Octopus, and that looked quite interesting to me, because when you investigate energy a little bit further, you realise that the price of electricity goes up and down throughout the day, and by quite some significant amount, depending on actually a lot of green energy, solar, wind, and hydroelectric power as well. But it moves around a lot. Obviously, when demand is high, prices go up. When demand is low, then naturally prices do go low. And there is such a thing as price plunging. So when there's an excess amount of energy on the grid, there's really nowhere to put this energy, and it costs a lot of money to be storing energy in large batteries for the periods of the time when it's going to maybe used. And there's too many sort of fluctuations in solar and in wind. It's a little bit unpredictable. So sometimes the grid gets flooded with energy, and so the price comes down significantly. Now, I've heard reports of being negative. I haven't seen that myself yet, but there was a period, and I've got a screenshot, and I'll try and put it in the video, where it went to 0.8 of a penny for, it was for half an hour. But either side of that, it was like a penny or £1, sorry, 1.2 pence or something like that for quite a significant amount of time in the evening or in the early hours of the morning when the demand was low. So it moves like this. And in fact, I don't know if I can show you whether you're able to zoom in on this, but when you go onto their website here, you get presented with a graph like this, and you can also see the sort of pence per kilowatt per every half hour. And you can see it moves around quite a lot. So there are sort of peak times in the day, it's something like 35p, but that's capped with Octopus, so you won't pay over a certain amount. But it's going down as low as sort of 3 or 4 pence on a sort of typical day for early in the morning. So these are, if you like, their wholesale rates. They're not specifically wholesale. There's an inflation on that because obviously Octopus need to make up their end of it and make a bit of profit out of it as well. And there's a formula which shows you exactly how they do that. But essentially, what you're seeing is actually double the sort of market rate. So it's when you actually realise how cheap electricity really is and what we're billed for and how much we're billed, it's almost criminal, really. I mean, it really is. I mean, I'm not an electrician. I don't understand, you know, what's involved in actually creating the grid. And I'm sure that it's colossal expense, and of course, you've got to make that pay. But you know, for a consumer, when it's sort of 1 or 2p and you're paying 11, 12, 13, 14, 15p, it just seems crazy to me. So anyway, I've signed up for it. There's conditions that you need a SMETS 2 meter. I think you can do it on a SMETS 1 and then they upgrade it, but you know, if you've already got a SMETS 2 meter, then fantastic, because they don't have to come out and install it for you. And they can read your meter every half an hour and they can give you consumption data and billing data. I'm just about to get my first bill, but I've actually got some of my own data which I've gathered sort of through the app, which I can show you in just a moment. So I've done it. Octopus Agile. You've got to go on their basic tariff first, so that you can register your account. You're on that for maybe a week, 10 days, whilst they're getting data from your SMETS 2 meter. Then they email you and say, hey, congratulations. There's a little like timeline at the bottom. It sort of ticks on the way. So account registered, smart meter readings every half an hour, account set up, Agile, done. So that's really, really good and really quick. So yeah, I would say probably 10 working days that came through. And get the app. There's some API data that you need to sort of set up. It's a little bit fiddly, if I'm honest. You've got to be careful about the numbers you're selecting, but there's instructions on the website how to do that. And you're able then to have a look at your app, and it'll tell you what your rate is at that moment. So, today is actually a fairly expensive day. So I'll show you just up here at the moment. We're about 12.35 kilowatts. I guess it's an overcast day and it's not very windy, but I don't know if you can see that. I might just have to zoom in on that for you. Okay, so there is a graph showing you the rates for the day. Just on the top here, that's a really useful function. What that does is if you've got run an appliance for like 2 or 3 hours, like your dishwasher or washing machine, or say you even want to charge your car up in the middle of the night, you just put a sliding scale here as to how long it's going to take. It will then tell you what time to actually set it. You can set an alarm there, or a reminder, and it'll also tell you what the average rate is as well. And then you can see here sort of numbers in the green there. I'm sorry, this isn't a fantastic thing because it's my camera and it doesn't auto zoom, and you can see there that it goes much cheaper in the early hours, and then as we get towards peak time between 4 and 7, it goes up again. So yeah, if you're able to move your energy around through the day, and I'm not talking about specifically looking at every half an hour, but if between 4 and 7 you can avoid using high consumption to the zoom again, high consumption appliances, then that's great. So if you didn't have to eat at 4 o'clock and you ate at 3:30, you can make some savings there. Or if you normally eat at 7 and you ate at 7:30, then being a little bit flexible like that, I think you can save some money. But even if you didn't, there's only 3 hours of the day on a typical day. Some exceptions to it. that actually where it gets expensive. So you've got 21 hours of the day where it's at like 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 pence. And for 3 hours a day it's 20, 25, sometimes 30, maybe peaks at 35. I still think even if you're, throughout the day, even for your base consumption, you're going to be doing pretty well out of it. So anyway, the truth's going to be in the pudding. Proof's going to be in the pudding. I've actually got some data here which I can share with you literally over the last couple of weeks, which I've used. And week 1 and week 2, looking at everyday consumption is between sort of 80 and 90 kilowatt hours. My cost is about £9.60. The average rates for the day, the average pence per kilowatt for the day was about £9.80. My average use was £11.40. That's because of where you're using your energy. So there's two averages are slightly different. There's the average price for the day, and then there's which is, if you like, every half an hour the rate is taken, and there's an average of that. But of course your average will be slightly different depending on how much you're using of those peak times. So we're a little bit careful, but I'm not. I've got a family of 4 here with 2 teenage children, so these are real figures. Okay, I'm not being super economical. We're being careful, but we're not nailing it, and you can see that because my average is 11.40, their average is 9.80. So there's some, I could be a bit more economical. The previous week to that, 110 kilowatts, £12.39. Their average 10, my average was 11, and this week so far a little bit better. So 9 pence per kilowatt is my average over the last 3 days. So you can see that it moves around. So even compared to their fixed rate at 14.5p, we're still making some savings there. So yeah, there you go. Some interesting data there, and some sort of real world figures, as they call it. So that's the sort of thing they use in EVs. So be careful what using too many of this sort of terminology. Okay, so there it is. I'll put the link in the bottom of the website, and you can take a look at it yourself. We're going to play around with this because I think there's some more savings to be had, and we can be super economical with it. Obviously, when the solar panels come in, then we're going to make even greater savings. So I think that's going to come down quite significantly, and looking at the average sort of wattage and kilowatts you can have in a month, I think we can be reasonably grid free, certainly for the most part of the day. But I'll talk about that in another video. I don't want to get too wrapped up in that right now. But one other thing that I'm going to say just before I do go is there is also an option for Agile outgoing. And again, I don't want to fall into the trap of talking too much about solar, but if you do have solar and you are thinking about it, the feed-in tariff has gone. There's another type of feed-in tariff now called SEG, and I'm trying to remember what that means, but it doesn't matter. But companies will give you anywhere between 4.5 and I think 6p per kilowatt that you put back to the grid. So let's just say you're bunging out 30 kilowatts in one day, whatever it might be. You're only using 10. There's 20 kilowatts there that goes back to the grid or back to your neighbours to use, and they'll pay you anywhere between say 4.5 and 6 pence for that. Outgoing Agile follows the wholesale rates. So yeah, I mean, if it is a nice sunny day and it's sort of 25 pence per kilowatt, you're not using it and you're exporting it, that's what you're going to get paid. So another reason to perhaps have a look at that. So anyway, that's my experience. The next thing we're going to talk about is the solar, and tomorrow the guys are going to come up and they're going to install the scaffolding, and then which tomorrow is Friday, and then the following Wednesday the solar company are coming in to actually install the panel. So somewhere between now and then I'll get some video and some footage of the guys putting up the scaffolding, so you can see what that looks like. So between now and then we'll do that, and also between now and then I've got to go to work at some point, get some work done. But somewhere between now and then I'll talk about the solar quotes, how we went about it, what information was important to me, what information I was able to glean from the installers, and sometimes in some cases the trouble I had in actually getting what I wanted over what the companies kind of wanted to sell me. So that was actually quite an important aspect. So I get that done, and then obviously show a few videos of the installation as well. But say between now and then I'll get some time to talk about that, and who we went with, why we went with them, and sort of talk about our reasons for going with a particular installing company, what they were able to offer us, and then yeah, hopefully you'll be in a better position to have a look at that for yourself. Good. Okay, so thanks very much for watching. Next video is going to come up quite shortly. I'll put the Octopus Energy link in the bottom. Like I say, use it if you want. We both benefit of it. If it's not for you, don't. I don't work for Octopus. I have no affiliation with them. They don't sponsor me or anything like that. I'm very new to this. But if it's good for you, then great, use it. Fantastic. And thanks very much for watching. Please put any comments in the bottom if you are an Octopus user or outgoing Agile, or there's the Octopus Go tariff, which is the cheap energy in the evening for EV cars. I'm quite interested in that as well. So yeah, any comments, please put it in the bottom. Be really pleased to see it. Of course, anybody else can benefit from it as well. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned.